What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel, and today I'm making NFL Week 7 picks, so let's hop into it. And if you like these videos, please consider subscribing. It would really mean a lot. But anyway, last week my record picking games was 10-4, so definitely a pretty good week, and that brings my overall record to 53-39. And this week we have two teams on their bye. We have the Dallas Cowboys, which after their blowout loss to the Lions, definitely needed a bye. And then we have the Chicago Bears. Let's just hop straight to the picks. And on Thursday Night Football, we have the Denver Broncos on the road at the New Orleans Saints. And both of these teams are coming off losses last week. The Saints did start Spencer Rattler in his first ever career NFL game, and he honestly didn't play too bad. And that is why I actually have the Saints winning this game at home by a final score of 24-21. Not that the Denver Broncos are a bad team at all. There is a ton of games this week that are really like toss-up games that could go either way, and this is definitely one of them right here. Bo Nix has had a pretty good rookie season, and Rattler last week, he didn't play bad at all. The team, I don't want to say let him down, but the team could definitely have done more around him. And I just think with another week of him at quarterback, the Saints, they're on a 4-game losing streak. I think they can snap that this week if they just play a good football game. And that's what I think is just going to happen as they get the win on Thursday Night Football. Then moving across the pond, we have another game in London this week. This time is between the New England Patriots and the Jacksonville Jaguars. This is actually the Jaguars' second straight game in London, so at least they didn't have to travel back to the States to travel back over there. They just got to stay there the whole time. And the Patriots will be starting rookie quarterback Drake May. He got his first start last week against the Texans in a game that they did lose, but he definitely showed a lot of potential. So a lot of stuff to look forward to as a Patriots fan. And the Jaguars, they kind of got blown out by the Bears in London last week. They dropped like 4 touchdown passes, so they definitely have to clean it up. And I think they will this week. I think it is a tough ask for Drake May to go over to London and win his second career game. I know I said that last week about Caleb Williams, about traveling, but he proved me wrong. So Drake May definitely could prove me wrong. But with the Jaguars being over there for a whole week, I give them the nod in this game, as I have them winning it by a final score of 28-24. So moving on over to our Sunday slate of games, we have the Cincinnati Bengals at the Cleveland Browns. And who would have thought this would have been a battle of the AFC North basement? The Browns 1 win on the season. The Bengals have 2. They did win last week against the Giants. And really, this battle of Ohio is the battle of who sucks less. And I do have the Bengals going into Cleveland and getting the win. The Browns just haven't been the same team at home this year that they were last year when they were 8-1. And even though since since kind of before Stefanski, since Mayfield was the Browns quarterback, Cleveland has had the Bengals number. But with how bad the Browns have been this year, statistically, I'm pretty sure it's been like their worst year since 1999. I don't really see things going well for the Browns. They haven't even scored 20 points in a game. They haven't even had 300 yards in a game. And the Bengals, even though they're 2-4, 2-5, something like that, I do think they are a better team than the Browns. And because of that, I do have Cincinnati winning this game by a final score of 30-13, as the Browns don't score 20 points or get 300 yards once again in this week. Then we have the Tennessee Titans on the road at the Buffalo Bills, and I do have the Bills winning this game at home by a final score of 26-16. The Bills were able to beat division rival the Jets last week. Titans, on the other hand, they lost once again. Will Levis's kind of struggling, not putting out a good product on the field, putting out plenty of funny pictures, though, and giving people a ton of stuff to make jokes about with him. And I don't have too much to say about this game, other than the fact that I do think the Bills will win by a final score of 26-16. And then we have one of those games that's really a toss-up. We have the Houston Texans on the road at the Green Bay Packers. And both of these teams coming off relatively easy wins last week. Texans won comfortably against the Patriots. Packers won comfortably against the Cardinals. Both of these teams' last loss was actually against the Minnesota Vikings, and that was a few weeks ago for both of these teams. So both of them really on a roll, both of them in a good spot. And I think this is just going to be a back-and-forth shootout between C.J. Stroud and Jordan Love. And I was having a hard time picking this game, but the Packers, they're the home team, so I just gave them the slight edge, and I have them winning this game by a final score of 34-30. Then we have an NFC East matchup. We have the Philadelphia Eagles against the New York Giants. The Eagles coming off a win against the Browns. Giants coming off a loss against the Bengals. So both of these teams played AFC North teams last week. And I have the Eagles winning this game by a final score of 31-21. Last week, A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith had pretty good games against the Browns. And I think they'll be able to just pick up where they left off and have another good game against the Giants, ultimately leading to a Philadelphia win. Then moving on over to the NFC North, we have the Detroit Lions on the road against the Minnesota Vikings. This is a pretty big game. I'm shocked it's not a primetime game. Instead, we get like the Jets and Steelers, which nobody really cares about. Detroit last week had a huge win in Dallas against the Cowboys, absolutely blew them out. Honestly, just absolutely embarrassed the Cowboys. But they did sadly lose edge rusher Aiden Hutchinson to a broken tibia and what was a pretty gruesome injury. and that was just a huge morale blow. But I don't think that's going to keep them down for long, as I do have the Lions giving the Vikings their first loss of the season in Minnesota by a final score of 27-24. Then moving on, we have two bird teams playing each other. We have the Seattle Seahawks on the road against the Atlanta Falcons. And this was kind of one of those toss-up games for me. I do have the Seahawks winning on the road by a final score of 30-28. I do think it is going to be a pretty close game. These two teams, in my eyes, are pretty similar teams. So, like I said, it could really go either way. But I'm just giving the Seahawks the slight edge in this game over the Falcons. Then we have the Miami Dolphins at the Indianapolis Colts. The Colts did say Anthony Richardson is probably going to start this game, so Joe Flacco back on the bench. Because of that decision right there, that is why I have the Dolphins winning this game by a final score of 23-17. Even though the Dolphins will be without Tua, I just think Anthony Richardson is prone to making a lot more mistakes than Joe Flacco, and because of that, I think he's just going to make one too many, and the Dolphins are just going to be able to go into Indianapolis and get this win. Then we have the Carolina Panthers on the road against the Washington Commanders. And besides Andy Dalton's first start for the Panthers, it has been pretty downhill for the Panthers this season. They have lost every game by double digits except Andy Dalton's lone win for them. The Commanders, on the other hand, they did lose to the Ravens last week by a touchdown in what was ultimately a pretty hard-fought game. And I think this is a great game for Washington to just rebound and bounce back, get the win at home, which I think they will do by a final score of 31-17. Then moving on over to the West Coast, we have the Las Vegas Raiders on the road against the Los Angeles Rams. Raiders coming off a loss, the Rams coming off a bye. And both of these teams have been pretty disappointing this year. The Rams, I want to say, have one win. The Raiders have two. So not a lot of good from these two teams. And the Raiders did trade wide receiver Devontae Adams. Right before I made this video, news broke that they were trading him to the Jets. So they'll be without him. Jacoby Myers is injured, so not a lot of weapons. At least not a lot of wide receiver weapons for the Raiders now. And with the Rams coming off a bye, I think they just get this win at home by a final score of 20-16. Then we have another pretty big toss-up matchup. We have the Kansas City Chiefs on the road against the San Francisco 49ers. Chiefs, another unbeaten team, haven't lost yet. Even though they haven't really been playing dominant football, they haven't really blown anybody out. They haven't really scored a ton of points. They're just kind of getting by, but hey, a win is a win. They're against the 49ers. The 49ers had a divisional win against the Seahawks last week on Thursday Night Football, so kind of coming off a mini bye for the 49ers. The Chiefs are coming off just a normal bye. So both of these teams really have had extra rest for this game. And I have the 49ers winning this game at home by a final score of 26-23. There's no really particular reason why I think one of these teams will win or won't win this game. It's one of those coin flip games. It's kind of up in the air. Then moving on over to Sunday Night Football, which I alluded to earlier, we have the New York Jets on the road against the Pittsburgh Steelers. And the Jets did make a trade for wide receiver Devontae Adams, reuniting him with quarterback Aaron Rodgers. And the Jets definitely need all the help they can get. Really disappointing year. They fired their head coach last week. They have 2 wins on the year, not looking good. A lot of parallels with their team last year who went 7-10, which I know they want to put in the rearview mirror. The Steelers, on the other hand, they're 4-2. They're playing pretty good football, and I had the Steelers winning this game in Pittsburgh by a final score of 28-21. Then moving on to our first of 2 Monday Night Football games, we have the Baltimore Ravens on the road at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Another one of these really good games between two good teams. Both of these teams are 4-2. The Ravens coming in with a 4-game win streak. Mayfield coming in off a 4-touchdown performance. So a bunch of 4s for this game. And I don't want to say this is an upset because both of these teams are 4-2, but the Ravens have won 4 straight. So by me picking the Buccaneers, it feels like an upset as I have them winning in Tampa Bay by a final score of 33-30 in what is another shootout this week. And then closing out week 7 with our second Monday Night Football game, we have the Los Angeles Chargers on the road against the Arizona Cardinals. And this game, not really as high profile as some of the other games, but still should be a relatively good game. And I do have the Chargers winning it by a final score of 24-14. Arizona, their only wins have come against divisional opponents in the NFC West. So they're not really that good against teams outside their division that they don't know as well. And the Chargers, they are coming off a win. So I think they'll just be able to keep the ball rolling and beat Arizona in Arizona. So yeah, those are my NFL Week 7 picks. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments. I know there's a lot of toss-up games this week that could really go either way. But yeah, let me know what you guys think down in the comments. Leave your thoughts down below. Make sure you like the video. Please subscribe to the channel. I will catch you with another video next week. I hope you all have a good day and God bless.